Okay. All right. Welcome to the weekly screen share. Hope everything's doing well. God bless you all. Thank you for jumping on in. Appreciate you for being here. Back to our Thursday nights as we get back into the swing of things. And the summer is almost over, about one more month left for most people. But here in the South, they start pretty early. So, what do I see happening for Bitcoin? Well, I long that bounce off the 200. It was up 6. Now I'm up 340, about to be a little under break even now on the day. And I'm seeing, I'm just got faith that that could break out. And so I'm going to go to sleep on that tonight and see where that goes and just have conviction in this idea. We're going to look at the big picture, the daily close, the weekly, all that. First thing I want to look is the daily close. Then we'll do our top-down analysis, and we'll break it down from there. It was a red day, right? Nasty day, a bearish engulfing candle, kind of nasty. So Bitcoin opened at 123,287 last night at 8 p.m. The high was 127,277. The low was 117,212, and the candle closed at 118,394 and 22 cents. Went down 117.12. $200 down, $4,845 on the day, and it would have an amazing, like basically almost $7,000 swing in one day, which is pretty crazy for Bitcoin. $4,000 to $5,000 swings in a day. Heavy volatility, big movement. We used to talk about this back when Bitcoin was 20, 30K. We used to say when it's 100K, it's going to be, the swings are going to be crazy. I was like, the volatility is going to be intense. And now here it is. And hey, it is what it is. We're in a whole new world, right? So Bitcoin, the daily, let me just not skip ahead. Let's go forward. 2-week chart, as we said, still looks beautiful to me. Some wickage there to the upside, but we haven't closed. We closed this in 3 days. See if it can close a little stronger. And it still says that it's going to, possibly break out parabolically here and head up to $186,000. It could be the top of the rally. We could dump. You never know. Take out the low at 80K, make a lower high, and then dump. But right now I'm on the bullish train because we're above this resistance. If we broke back below 110, if we lost 114, then I would start thinking bearishness. But right now, I'm of the bullish type because we're above key levels. So I am more bullish than bearish, and I am going to say that. I'm not like, I know I'm always like, I don't know what's going to, it's nothing, I know nothing but the fact I'm on ignorance, but I do have conviction one way or the other many times, and right now I have more of a bullish conviction. I also want to see, so look at, we got Bitcoin above 117, we got Bitcoin above 114. If it had closed the weekly candle below that, look for it to go to 114. If it closes that, look for it to come down to 109, and 109 was a key level. We bounced around there and had a lot of resistance before we broke above it. So, still bullish. Let's go to the 5-day. In between, but not the worst. The 3-day, just looking like indecision. Not a bearish engulfing. It doesn't cover the whole candle. And then here we are on the daily. The daily was a pretty nasty candle. So, bigger picture, we're in this bigger triangle, a bigger rising wedge that wants to break out. So that's your first thing that you just have to keep in your mind. Now look, daily has previous resistance, which became support right there. We bounced. It was a fib. It was amazing, right? 112. We made a new all-time high. A little bit of a bearish div, though, on the daily, and you're overbought, right? So it tells me that we may have to get some type of reset. But we're right on the 21-day moving average. It's a good sign. And there's a high-volume node here and a lot of support, too. So, we're looking for some type of bounce here so we can make a bit of consolidation. So when I look at this, I see support, resistance, resistance. I see a trend line. I see a trend line. Looking for a bounce to the top of the trend line, or this thing's going to fall pretty fast down to 112.5. You can see there's really not a lot of big support until you hit the double bottom. So, as I look at this closely, I am looking for this bounce, right? That's what's otherwise we're pretty bearish, right? For at least the short term. I'm not saying it's the end or anything, but short term more bearish. So the daily doesn't look amazing. It says it's going lower. right? I mean, you're high on the Stokes and you've already started to dump. So the daily, if you had to read the daily with bearish div, the daily is not in the best state. It says there could be more coming down. 12-hour, the same. The 12-hour, yep. The 22, they both look pretty bearish. And then the 4-hour is your saving grace here with the 200 moving average. So it's like, come on, baby, let's get the bounce, right? So we're looking for this falling wedge to break out. Back to the upside here for the 4-hour. That's basically what I'm looking at with a stop below these two wicks. We're either going to make it or I'm going to get hit off. You know, we might get hit off again. I don't know. They've been getting very close to this key area. 1 hour is struggling to get back above the 200 moving average. If it gets above, we're going to get a nice pump too as well. 15-minute, all day we've been kind of watching this price action, right? We got the bounce at 117.5. Now it's in a flag. Doesn't look amazing to me. And so it all really starts today on that 1 minute. Like, could the 1 minute break the 200 moving average? Nope. 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 When we finally did, we got some type of reversal here back to the upside. And now you're seeing, can the 5 minute make its way back to the 200 moving average? So right now, like, I see kind of, I don't know, like it looks more, look, that looks like a symmetrical triangle that could go either way in the 5 minute time frame. More likely these break down. But either way, you get back above the 200, you could change, you know. So I don't, honestly, I can't, it looks a little more bearish on the smaller time frames. And it looks pretty bearish on the daily. So the odds are against me here that I'm going to win this trade. Maybe I take my profits and move on for the night, especially on a low volume Friday. It's looking like we may be in for some chop. But I do really like the 4-hour 200 moving average bounce. Like, it entices me because I've won many trades against the grain. When most people thought we were bearish, I've been able to call a reversal here and make some gains. And next, you know, I wake up in the morning and they flush those shorts, especially after a massive dump like that. Usually when you move that fast, you're going back up pretty quick. So it's hard for me to give up that opportunity because I really like that setup. So it is what it is. I'm trading the 4-hour, and I'd watch the smaller time frames if you'd like. I just kind of let them be, right? Some days I don't stare at them. I just, I know what's up, and I go from there. If you want to know exactly what's happening, the 5 minute needs to break this 200 moving average, the yellow line, then the 7 minute, then the 15 minute. And then if we get above the 15 and like we start moving, then the 1 hour is likely to have broken above it as well. And then the 4 hours reversing, right? So you really need the 5 minute to break above. You need the 1 hour. It looks like the 1 hour could do it even before the 15, the way it's set up. So you need the 1 hour to close a candle above this yellow line. You need the 1 minute to break above. Right now, we're going down pretty fast. We've retraced a lot of the move already. So we'll see. Doesn't look amazing for BTC. And it's low volume Friday. It's Thursday nights. It's not one of my, I really despise Thursday night. It's a pretty bad night to like be in a trade too. So I'm sucked into the 4-hour 200 because I've seen it before, but I'm in the middle on the exact awesomeness of that trade, right? So that's where I stand. That's the honesty of the night. And it does look, to me, look at me, you're watching with me. It looks a little more bearish than bullish, right? So that's Bitcoin, okay? As far as altcoins, we put a little list together of some altcoins that we looked at that are interesting. Anything on the dip to me is hot. Like Aerodrone is hot right now. It's been ripping, So, and a lot of altcoins are really strong against the Bitcoin dip. You're seeing DeFi wake up. Look at Cardano back at 91 cents there. Useless coin, Radium. So there's definitely opportunity in the altcoin market. And it's showing very, signs of strength. So first we want to look at Ethereum and see, is ETH going to bounce with Bitcoin here? The one thing about ETH, it's pretty overbought on the weekly, right? Like it's far away from the 21, a lot farther than Bitcoin is. And like it's like its first really rally, the 5-day as well, the 3-day, the daily. I got to tell you, it looks like we got to have some type of consolidation here. So let's look at this. Signs that we could bounce and make a flag, for sure. And then continue. But I don't see us pumping like ridiculously. I see us making consolidation. So, and that's going to take a couple weeks, So I see sideways price action till the end of August 25th, 10 days, 12 days. And then ETH could be ready for its next pump. It could go and head lower, but it's looking pretty bullish there. We'll see if we get, so if Bitcoin gets the bounce, like this is more likely for ETH, right? If Bitcoin dumps, then ETH comes down, you see? It's based on what Bitcoin does too, so. About to lose 118, which is psychological dump, right? So ETH, really depending on what Bitcoin does tonight, both of these are valid for a continuation. This one will obviously be a deeper pump. This one would be more likely, and just less difficult to trade. It would be more bullish, and you could just ride the wave. That's ETH pretty much in a nutshell. You're waiting for the 21 and the daily to interact again until it can really get the sauce. And then a lot of coins are going to wait on that. So that's a lot. That's probably a lot of coins. Like let's get Sol on the daily. It's a way, I'm looking at Sol on the daily to just consolidate here. So to me, it just looks like a good time to accumulate altcoins again. And now they're above their daily 200 moving averages. Like down here, the prices were low, but now it's just a safer. So you get higher prices, but less risk when you're above the daily 200 moving average. More likely you're going to get your move to the upside. No guarantees, but just more likely. And then that kind of goes with everything. AVAX was moving, like all the older coins that had any type of chain that actually had a TVL and people that were, using it for DeFi. Same thing here. So I see AVAX about to break out. You're going to see DeFi go crazy. And I've been seeing people, they said that the Google searches for altcoins is the highest it's been in like 4 years, right? Just this week alone. So we're starting to get that ramp up again. Like AVAX, that looks like a great trade to me. It's high risk, high reward, and it's not even my favorite coin, but it looks like it's time for AVAX to at least begin its next leg to the upside there. And that will be sparked by DeFi. Once Ethereum's hot, people start, okay, I'll buy this coin and I'll start staking it. And then more and more people do it, it gets very, very big. All right. Someone says the sound is lower than usual. You'll be okay, Richie. Turn it up. You'll be all right. I'm just talking. I'm not yelling. That's why I'm not on the live stream. It's low key. Yeah. Happy to have these Thursday night screen shares again. God bless you, brother. Thank you. Yeah. Shout out to Andrew Yurkovic. Yeah. Love you, Sam. Gabriel, love you too, man. Thank you. And everyone, thank you so much for all the well wishes and all the love this week. I appreciate it. It's very nice of you. Seems like someone keeps botting me to 100K and then like YouTube erases the botting. You know what I mean? So I'm like, I appreciate it, but I don't. I wish someone would just leave let it happen when it's going to happen. And that's why I'm not even really discuss it too much because it's just kind of annoying. Anyway, blessings though. So there you go. So we put together this list too of those coins. Remember we talked about. So Sidekick, market cap 44 million, a billion tokens, circulating supply 111 million, only 10%, right? ERC20, low cap speculative token. Prospects, high volatility, low transparency, eligibility, listed on mid-tier exchanges. Started trading within a week, right? And, very small, but this thing could be something that makes a crazy move pretty fast. So you just write it down, you pay attention. Succinct, $265 million market cap, right? 20% of the circulating supply is out. Zero knowledge proof services for apps, oracles, and AI agents. Strong infrastructure backing and ZK marketplace relevance. Live on major exchanges. Started trading within 2 weeks, right? That looked like it was in a head and shoulder, though. As you can see, it looked like it may not be in the best spot, right, TA wise. But definitely something we may want to write down, prove. Public AI was another one that we looked at, right? 1 billion market cap, 1 billion tokens. It's got 20% out. It's on BNB. It's for governance, rewards, AI services, and AI data and validation networks. And that thing just went on a massive, massive tear. If you can see from the very beginning, it just hasn't even gone down. Interesting. Towns, $95 million market cap on base chain. I like base chain because like Aerodrone's starting to rip. And look, that's a bit of a cup and handle. That's your second higher low. Towns looks like nice compared to everything, you know. Sat layer slay, 44 million supply. Bitcoin layer 2, which is very interesting, right? BTC yield for security roles across ecosystems could carve a niche in Bitcoin DeFi. Pretty interesting. Really slumping right now to the downside, though. The chart, you know, came out with initial and just has been absolutely obliterated. Unique, right? UN Air, Billions Network has an airdrop coming, an IDO coming, so that's not even out yet. Unique on Solana prospect, pre-sale and OTC trading active right now. So those are those smaller coins I wanted to just kind of go over that we looked at this morning, earlier throughout the week too as well. And let's also, I'm going to sign in here. Hold on one second. Bring this over. All right. I mean, Tokabu keeps coming up. And we found that real early, and it's still looking pretty interesting. They're bullish on Tokabu. Quantix AI is on the radar. Kita back at 140. Shout out to anyone that stuck with Kita, got into Kita, or got back into Kita. That was like a big, awesome altcoin there. I mean, an unexpected winner out of nowhere, right? Which is awesome. Kita. You know, it looked like the Puma logo, which kind of got me. It's funny, as stupid as that is, right? You know, Rabita keeps coming up. Every time I Google coins, I see Rabita. Every time we're doing our research, it always keeps coming up. Rabita. Could be a hot one for you there. So my last one here was Unit BTC. And this is token metrics. This is just an AI that's searching through the entire internet, looking at coins that were out before, that we've looked at, and just kind of putting a list of like 50, 60 coins that it believes are more bullish than bearish. Not saying every one of them is amazing. You know, you do your own research after the fact here. But it could just set you on a better, you know, a better trajectory than just looking through the whole market. Like, it really likes Apu as that meme coin, Apu. It calls it a blue chip. See blue chip there? It's on non-playable coin as a blue chip. It likes that. It says Saros is speculative. Joe coin is emerging. Alphabet, which is Google X, which is basically Google, right? Wrapped Google. Tesla, same idea. Aerodrome, Coinbase. And you could trade those on BTCC too. The Weeks token too, starting to show up as a bullish token. Like, they like it. So Weeks token, signs of life as that exchange starts to kind of really take off. Interesting, right? So, and you know we love Weeks. As someone who wears glasses like this, what are they? They're Oakleys. Oakleys. I bought some Oakley, Oakley frames. I think they're like $400 or something. And then the prescription, and the glasses together are like $1,000 or something crazy, right? After all the nonsense, but all right. So can we hold on? Up 350, 15%. I could talk about Bitcoin all night. It's really, I'm on the 4 hour, and we'll wake up tomorrow morning and see if I'm right. I'm usually right. I hate to be wrong, but I'm more than 50%. I'm more than 50% right. So the odds of me being right are higher than I'm being wrong, but you never know. I could be wrong. It's been tough. It's been chop. We're in price discovery. So back on Thursday Night Live. Sam, is someone? Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Yeah, so there's Bitcoin in a nutshell. And then kind of what did I do? Like, what have I done? This week. I mean, I bought more SCI. Like, I really get hooked on one thing. This is what I've been doing for years. I get hooked on like one coin, accumulating one coin, a lot of one coin, and like when it's low, I just buy more and I wait patiently. And then when the market changes, I dip. I don't, quietly and silently, Sorry to ask, I'm at the gym, and for some reason I can hear you barely. Anyway, can you turn up the volume a bit? No, it's as loud as it always is. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. It's the same volume. It always is, yeah. Can't turn it up anymore. Yeah. Sorry. True, I wear contacts most of the time because of it. Yeah, I love the live on Thursday nights. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, I literally have I use these levels every time. See how they're up? They're up pretty high. Yo. I mean, I'm not screaming into the mic. I'll be honest with everyone. I'm a little tired, I'm exhausted. Thursday nights are tiring. They're very tiring for me, for an old man like me. And the heat, man. The heat in Florida really gets to you. Like I took my kids for a couple walks, and the heat is intense, man. It's intense. We ate outside. I cooked a barbecue, but it was like in 90 degrees. So I was like dying out there. I think the heat definitely drains you. So not to be rude, man. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, so I talk a little quieter. I'm not like yelling. I know the sound is fine. It looks good to me. I'm sorry, J Soul. Appreciate it. Yeah, it's been a long week, man. Bitcoin up, Bitcoin down, huge pumps. Hey, I sold the top of everything yesterday. If you were with me, I said, I'm out. I said, it doesn't look right. We're too far from the 21. I said, draw a flag on that 15. And if it flags out, maybe. You never know, but it's likely it's not going to happen. We're going to be good to go, right? And that's exactly what happened. So, Sam, what's your plan for which alts you plan to hold leading into a future bear market and which get sold? I would never hold altcoins in a future bear market. Yeah, I would sell every single altcoin. And if you want it back, you buy it back in the bear market. You buy another position. But yeah, I'm out on all altcoins. Yeah, I don't think you should hold any altcoins in a bear market, personally. We get so over speculated, you can always buy them so much cheaper. Like 5x to 7x, usually 10x cheaper. Even a good coin with a substantial backing is just not, Cooked out today also, then napped. Amen, brother. Amen. Sam, what's your plan? Yeah, and then my left ear started hurting again out of nowhere. So it's like, the humidity gets it going or something. I don't know what the heck goes on. So it's always, seems to be something with the ear, man, until the ear gets back to 100%. I'm at 60K SEI from 3.2. Hope it was a snipe at 0.6. LOL. I know, right? So again, we'll take a look at the portfolio like we do here. So loading up on BTC as usual. I just keep, loading up. I keep Tether on the sidelines. Always a bag to Tether. SEI is my big boy. I keep adding to. I got 54,000 of it. It's pretty much right where I bought it on the lows at the beginning, and I added more. So it just keeps kind of growing there. I keep a lot of Mexi token. Ondo, Deep Book Protocol, Hyperliquid. I made a big, I bought like 10 grand of that, 20 grand of that actually, or maybe it was like 15 grand more. Near, I still got bags of Render, Sui, right? And I bought a little more SEI. I bought like 5 grand more, I think either yesterday or this morning. Yesterday, I bought a little more SEI, or the day before, beginning of the week. Doge, Wilder Coin, Fetch, and I've had these bags for like 2 years now, like just waiting for altcoin season to do its thing. I believe gaming will come back. I believe that Arkham Virtual is amazing. Has a real team and it has like a real product. People build AI agents on, like Degens with Base, Palm AI is the AI, right? ENA's hot, been pumping. AP13, Terra was Terra basically AI too. Vine I think has that in with Twitter. MEE was hot. We actually made like a 5x on that, and then it pumped. So a little bit of Sol, XCN, and then I hold like 100 grand of like Chainlink at $10. It's up big. I own 100 grand of Solana. I got some DJI 6930 here too, some Jasmy, XRP, and like I hold a bunch of other coins on other exchanges as well. I hold about you take away the Bitcoin, I hold about $1 million or more in altcoins still right now. Looking to 10x it to 10 mil or 5x it to 5 mil. And like, it's been a long day coming. And I know a lot of people lose faith. Not everyone, like it didn't pump like all the other times people join my group. We went over coins within 8 months to 16 months. We all got heavily paid. There was a huge run in altcoins. It just didn't happen this time. It's been 2 years. It's been a long run. If you stayed with me, you learned how to trade. You saw me pivot. If you've been in the group a long time, you saw me pivot to leverage trading for so long because altcoins just they were boring. It wasn't worth buying them anymore. It wasn't worth accumulating them. If you had them, you waited. BMX was the hottest gaming coin, right? You had to have it. I had every coin you were supposed to have on the narratives. I covered every narrative from gaming to real world assets, right? To DeepIn. Like we got AOIZ, Pocket Network, Rilio, right? Like Nosana was super hot. Some Myro. I hold memes. I hold Floki, Myro, a little Pepe. I hold Ponky. I hold like 10 of them. I hold some Peanut there even, you know what I mean? It's I have exposure to everything, and I'm just sitting on my hands waiting on altcoins to do their thing, and it's been a long time coming, right? And gaming has been hard to hold as well. I truly believe gaming will come up and we'll have this run, and what I'm going to do is when we have a big run and if certain things don't go, they're getting cut off, and if certain things do, they're getting sold, and we balance it out. I'm going to leave the market with what I got, and go from there. So it's been a battle to hold the alts. It hasn't been easy. Shout out to anyone that stuck with me through this time. And again, it's just been one of those trials and tribulations where it's just not always perfect, But we've been going up, and we made the portfolio is way higher than it was months ago, right? So things have made a beautiful turn, and I got faith in the future. So like I always do, and so that's kind of where I stand there, right? And there's going to be some new altcoins that come out, and I'm going to keep my ears to the grindstone. And once things really start popping, there's going to be a lot more opportunity. They're going to make this and that. There's going to be 5Xs overnight. We already did see some interesting coins pump, Zora did we've seen some amazing opportunity. It was harder to find, like things went out of control quickly, but we were on some of these coins early, just like we're doing this list now. Like one of these coins we went over now, they don't look amazing now, but they ended up being one of the ones that pumps pretty hard. So you always have to keep looking, always keep researching, and always kind of going through that list and double checking. Like it's constant. It's not easy. It could be annoying. It could be, it's a never ending battle to stay on top of it. And every time you slip, there's a coin that pumped that you missed out on, that you was like, oh, I should have known about it, and it's constant. But that's what we do. That's crypto life. It's never ending. It's a battle. And that's why people think it's easy, and like you get rich and they call you lucky, and they don't realize it's a full-time job. It never ends. Trading groups are important because it's impossible to do it alone. And the grind just doesn't stop. Never. It doesn't. There's no end, and it's a 24/7 market, day in and day out. You got to find a way to calm yourself down, to find your chi, to balance yourself out. You got to look at the bigger time frames and hang out, Yeah, I've been there, right there, Sam, with you through all the ups and downs. The alts have been brutal. It has been, man. We've been up, we've been down, we've been up, we've been down. Trump coin, we're about to go all the way to the moon again. It's $300. It's the president's talking about your altcoins. It's like, this is it, right? Like, we finally made it. It's not easy. It's exhausting going through the list. Oh, yeah. And it used to be super fun. Like, every single week, we'd be like, it's alt season. Let's look at the art. Let's look. And now they've beat down narratives. They've beat down ideas. Like, we've been just waiting. And it's funny with all the interesting new innovative. I used to be this new innovative guy that always knew it was hot. And I looked in the last 2 years and my mind said, damn, man, as I could have been the most amazing creative guy ever. I could have researched everything. And you had to just buy Bitcoin. Like, Bitcoin just outperformed. And I did. I did the right thing. Thank gosh. Like, I'm blessed that I'm a part of the market so much that the market tells me what to do and I listen. Like, I could see that Bitcoin was the answer. I took it. We nailed it. Bitcoin, if you watch me, I bought more Bitcoin than everything else all the time. Even this week, even yesterday, I bought $3,000 worth of Bitcoin. I didn't buy $3,000 worth of anything else. I accumulate more Bitcoin when the time is right. That's always paid off for me, And if this thing rips, there's a good chance this rips. I mean, we hit here, that's $6,000. We go up here like, tomorrow morning, I could wake up anywhere between $3,000 and $5,000. This could be an amazing trade for me, man, if I really call this bottom and lock it in. That's why every time they tried to get me out, I felt like there was a good chance it could be one of the bigger trades, man. And that's the battle we all go through too. Look, back up 470, back up 20%. I can't wait to go to sleep and just wake up in the morning and see what happened to this trade. It's kind of like Christmas every night. As a trader, we never know exactly what's going to happen. When I make these weekly screen shares, because it's about learning TA. It's about knowing technical analysis, right? Having an understanding of where you are and a good education in the industry you're in. And I think TA is just something you should know if you're going to be playing with these coins, period. On top of that, you want to get an understanding. What is real world assets and what do they mean? Where are they linked to? What is Ondo? What's connected to Ondo? And then you want to research kind of that genre. A fun way to do it, too, is they do a pretty good job. If you can go into categories here, and you'll see they'll have, BNB chain, AI and big data, right? DPIN. And you'll see the different things, stable coins, tokenized ETFs. World Liquidity Financial Portfolio, which is maybe something you want to take a look at. What are they buying? Tokenized assets. You can spend a bunch of time in here, the hyperliquid ecosystem. Could be some interesting coins in there that I haven't looked at that are up today or up tomorrow, right? Hyperliquid. Rage Trade. That's a new one. I haven't heard of that. Rage. I mean, with a name like Rage, it looks like if the market rips again, that could do damage. Farm, I've been seeing on and off. Loop. All right, buddy, right? And then, so now you go, okay, Rage. Like, that stands out to me, right? Just what coin would you remember out of here? Rage Against the Machine, Rage, right? If you're good at, I feel like I have a little bit of a knack for marketing, so I kind of scan. And even though I even think even if I don't have a knack for marketing, I think I'm a human being that recognizes. And I think that's not unique to me. Like, when I look at this page and then Rage sticks out to me, I think that happens to a lot of people. And so I trust my instincts that I can see something that I believe could be trending. Now volume is tiny. I would stay away from it, right? 10,000, yikes. So you got to put 2 and 2 together. But I do this over and over again until I really start seeing different things. And right. Zora, Velo, Pobcat. And Thursday night's not like the best night to just like deep dive. Again, like, some nights are for swing trading. It's awesome. Things are looking good. Swing trading short, swing trading long. Because we've been in uptrends, it's long swing trades. I'm not going to be shorting a lot. I'm going to be longing more. And then other things are for DCAing at the time. You know what I mean? And getting into a DCA and just building, So everything to me has its purpose. And I'd say like 60% of the nights are DCA nights. Like, they're just nights where you build. And then there's 20 to 30 where there's awesome swing trades. Like today, I like the opportunity of the buys here, because you get the bounce. Like, that's probably a great buy for AVAX right now, in my humble opinion. And there's a lot of, so then you start looking for what coins are on the daily, touching the 21 above their 200. Like, that's beautiful right there. You see that? That's what we look for. And this really hasn't pumped yet compared to the rest of the market. You know, and then you start thinking, well, is Sonic, like, you know, which is the old Phantom, you think it would be in a similar scenario. Wow, it's not even, right? Look at that. It's not even above its daily. Well, it's too small on this chart anyway, but I was just, you know, a bit of a double bottom, but nothing to write home about. So sad to say, if you're just joining the group and you're at the weekly screen share, we will find opportunity. But if you know, just let you know, a lot of us have been building bags that we're in now for a long time. It's been a 2-year process, and we've been, like, we're up. We got into Arrow at 30 cents. It went to 270 twice. We did a 9X twice. Right there, like 230, fine, 230. From 30 cents, you know, it did a 7X, basically, right? A little over. I see this thing getting ready for its next move. Like, Arrow's hot right now. It was pumping when the rest of the market was kind of stagnant. It's like institutions like it. They know it's Coinbase. Coinbase is hot right now. I always knew that Arrow was going to get front run by institutions, and I knew it was going to start to pump, and it had a use case. And I also watched Cake do damage. And Cake was amazing, right? And Cake is what's called an automated market maker. And I love that genre. I love that idea. It does well. And so I've made money in that exact sense before. So I'm always looking for an automated market maker. To me, that's very simple. Like, I don't have to go and deep dive. I don't have to be that smart. I don't have to read 1,000 white papers. What's the best chain in the game besides, the newest thing out, like, Ethereum? We got Coin. We have Base Chain. Who is that? That's Coinbase. Is Coinbase taking over? Do they have a lot of money? Have they been around a long time? Yes. Are they successful? Do they lose? They don't lose. They are successful. Should their chain continue? Yes. Am I speculating on Coinbase? 100% I am, right? When I buy Arrow, I'm an investor. I may be a guy that can look at an altcoin and trade it, but I'm also looking at the big picture. Who's got the big money? Who's going to spend the marketing? Coinbase, man. I should have a piece. So you could buy Coinbase stock, or you can 20x Aerodrome. To me, buying Coinbase stock is buying Aerodrome. You get it, and vice versa. This is just the multiplier on that same idea. So I look for a narrative that I believe in. Then I try to whittle my way into this, not too risky. We can get into very risky stuff like the coin degen on base. That's extremely risky playing base. Arrow is a risk down from buying coin. You see what I'm saying? So I like to find myself somewhere in, like, I'd say the 40 to, if the riskiest is 10%, less risky is 90. I like to find myself somewhere between 30 and 50% in the risk category, so I can get those gains. All right. That looks like it's about to continue to pump. And I don't want people to FOMO in right now, but that 1 hour even looks good to me right now. It looks like even you get in here, it could consolidate. I see 181 and coming for Arrow. I do own a lot of Arrow, so. You said Arrow going. Altura. Altura's sad coin. I got in a long time ago. Had, faith and hope for it. And it really just, to see it pump that much. Oh, wow, I got back to a penny at least. Yeah. I remember when this thing was, like, at its peak, I believe it was, there's 17 cents for Altura, right? But I remember it even higher than that. Look, if I look at ALU here, I want to say I remember it at a buck or two. Maybe I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. All right, 20 cents was the all-time high, 20, 30 cents. So, okay, so it could 30x from here if it goes back. I still hold a huge bag of this thing. I believed in it because it was infrastructure, and I believe that gaming coins had to use it. And it was revolutionizing the gaming industry, making it easy to build and scale and monetize Web3 and AI-powered games. Had such a good narrative, but, like, this whole idea no one talks about it anymore, and nobody cares. And this narrative has died, right? Anyone who doesn't have Arrow needs to rethink. Yeah. So I have an amazing portfolio. I really do. Like, I love my portfolio. I think it's solid. I've got every coin in the game. I've got Near. I've got Arrow. I've got Sol. I've got Link. I've got the big boys. I got little boys. I got memes, I'm exposed all around. They've gone up, they've gone down. Not every call has been perfect. It's been insanity. All right, here we go, baby, with the pump. Back up 27%. And this is what we're looking for. You got the candle closed now. We're halfway through the second candle, and there's a good chance I call this reversal. This took all day. This took a lot. I'll be honest. I want to be honest with everybody. My job is insane. This took a lot out of me today calling this bottom. I went at it once, they got me. I went at it twice. I said, but I know the probabilities. I said, I know we bounce off this 200. I said, I just didn't position myself at the proper time, and they got me. I said, but I know the overall thesis of the move is right. And I'm not going to let them beat me over what I know is a high probability play. Like, I know there's a high probability this is going up. I know that. I've seen it so many times. Today was trying. I couldn't believe I got back in again, and now I've cleared my losses yet again, but let's see what happens. And you can see how many times this trade's gone up and down since you've been with me. 65x leverage is no joke, right? And again, please don't trade leverage if you don't know what you're doing. It's one step at a time, one day at a time. It took me like 3 years to really start getting really comfortable with the way I do it. Sam, when did you decide to quit your 9-to-5 to pursue trading full time? It's a great question. I was trading. What happens is you gain so much knowledge in trading while you're at work. You're basically at work, and while you're supposed to be doing what your boss wants you. Let me break down what happened to me. It's what happened to me. I always need to draw. That's just how I work. So I got out of school. I said I want to go into film and music. So I was rapping on the side in studios. Made a little home studio, taught myself how to mix, was mixing my own music, all that fun stuff. I have an album on Spotify if you want to check it out. I don't like to boast about it too much, but it's out there. So, boom, right? And then I got into using computers and became a video editor. So, and this is a part of my story because I was always, when you're a video editor, they give you 2 screens to edit, right? And now a lot of people have 2 screens because they're home, but back in the day, most people just had one, But you're a video editor, you get 2 screens, sometimes even 3, depending on and 2 screens when you're working is really, you can get a lot done, right? You can put something over here, grab something. You can be watching a video on YouTube on one side while you're doing your work on the other. And one side can be for personal, one side can be for work. And for me, it was super efficient. I was getting it done and I loved it, right? And it was like, I was kind of a computer nerd at work. I liked having high tech. I went home and built my own little studio. Anyway. And as a video assistant editor and video editor, I was someone that took the footage from the field. Like the crew would go out and then they'd hand me footage. And then I would organize it and log it and put it all together. I would take all the cameras and make multicam groups with them so you could see all the 3 camera angles at once so the editor could just easily choose them. They were all I would time sync everything and bring it together. Now, what happened is I finally got a job working for Kevin James, the famous comedian. And it was the show Kevin Can Wait. And I got the job. I got lucky through a friend that knew somebody, and I went to Long Island and I got hired. And it was in Long Island. I was living in Queens, and I would drive out to Long Island, to Hicksville, Long Island, Oyster Bay. And I would get there. And a lot of time we were scheduled from 10 to 6 every day, like an 8-hour, shift really in the union with a half an hour lunch break or something. And a lot of times, the footage was supposed to be there at 1, and I was supposed to work till 6, but it didn't get there till 4 or 3 or 5. And I sat in my room for 2-3 hours a day doing absolutely nothing. No one asked me for anything. There was no task I needed to do. I didn't have a boss on me. We had a video editor who was like a 52-year-old guy from LA who was flown out there, who was staying in a Best Western down the street, or somewhat of a hotel down the street, like a live-in hotel, away from his wife for about an 8-week period while he edited each season, or maybe even 12 weeks, I think it was at a time. So he wasn't a ball buster. He was 52 years old. He wasn't merely my boss. He was the editor, and I was the assistant editor by the union. We were it's almost like the assistant coach. You do your job for your coach, and your coach, he is your boss, but he wasn't we had people in LA that we had deliverables we had to send to, and they were kind of our bosses, and we had people that oversaw us and made sure we were kind of somewhat there on time and all that. But for the most part, in that industry, no one really knew what the assistant editors had to do but the assistant editors. It was me and this guy, Frank. He was really good at his job. I was too, and we ran it really well. But the point was, they left me in my office. I finally got my first time in my life I got an office. All the other times, I was in a room with set up cubicles, You know, like I had my own little setup, but like if I leaned out, I could see like someone else and wave at them, or there was a hallway near me. It's the first time ever, like I got my own room where I could close the door. I had a lock on the door. You know what I mean? And I would go in there, I would close that door, man. And I was like, oh, I felt like I had made it, you know? I was like 36, 37. I was like, finally my own office, man. No one to bother me. And I just grinded. And what would happen is, while I waited, I think I clicked on a BitConnect video. I'll be honest with you. I saw this guy, Trevon James. This is the foot. Anyone know Trevon James? Am I the only person that like? But I think one of the first, and I have to be honest, it kind of gets me a little like I'm almost embarrassed to say it, right? But Trevon James was the first guy to kind of like get me into crypto. Where is he? He got like the SEC. Like, he got involved in like some SEC stuff. Like, I don't know why it's not letting me. Why I can't, like, it's like blocking me from finding him. Pretty sure his name was Trevon James. There he is, Trevon. Look at Trevon in jail, Hex influencer a year ago. Oh, so something happened maybe. My crypto was up. Yeah, anyway, this dude was connected to BitConnect. See this video 4 years ago? Like, I made confessions of the #1 BitConnect promoter, you know what I mean? So he was on BitConnect, and I saw him moving this money around, and I was like, what are these people doing? You know, and I'm at work alone, and this dude's like touching these. Look, 7 years ago, right? And so I'm seeing this guy, and he's clicking on this stuff, and I'm like, what is he doing? Like, look, 428,000 in BitConnect, right? He was moving it all around. And these guys were first at it. And the people that were first, like, people were jumping in on the referral link. The money was crazy, right? And again, I knew nothing about referrals or anything. I was just like trying to like figure out cryptocurrency. I did do BitConnect, but I was very skeptical of it. I threw like a little bit of money in there. But it's funny. So I'm at work. This is a funny story. So I'm at work, like playing with BitConnect and all that nonsense. There was another one with Litecoin, like, and I did Litecoin, and I was like, you know, you put in money and you get back. You put in and get back, and then you'd make $5 grand, and then one day you try to get it, and like you couldn't get it, like it was over, like, and you'd be like, damn, I knew it was like, and everyone knew it was kind of sketchy. Like, how long can it last until it's over, man? It was a really crazy time when crypto first started. Like, it was insane. It was the wild, wild west. Like, even the craziest stuff now that I see is nothing like I see back then. Like the ICOs and the money, it was crazy, man. And I should have, would have, could have made so much more money than I did. You know, like I saw so many people make millions of dollars. Like, anyway, you know, I was at work, man, and I clicked just like you clicked on my videos, and you found, you know, and then I've kept finding other people on YouTube, and then I found a serious guy who taught technical analysis, and I joined his trading group, and I got serious, and then I kept doing it. And before I even got in though to, you know, Trevon James, I was trading. You know, and I was trading on my own. I somehow got into trading with gold and silver. I opened up an E-Trade account, and I almost didn't do it through online. Like, I did it through people around me. A kid that I was at work with was, like, trading E-Trade. And I was like, oh, that's cool, you know. Trade's ripping now, the highest it's ever been. Looks like we can make some coin here. Now we're up 800. Now we cleared the losses. We're starting to turn this day into a green. That's what I love, too, about 24-hour trading. I've had red days until 10 at night. I closed this trade now. It's a green day. You know, I didn't lose, but people saw me lose twice in the live. That's why it's important, too, to be in the trading group, be actively with me, because, like, I might lose in the live 3 times and still win that day. My 4 trade might clear it all. Let's see, man. This is supposed to pump all the way the lane. This is just supposed to eat this whole entire candle right back to the upside. I didn't even need Bookmap or look at it with this. I know when that 4-hour bounces, we get a nice pump. I've seen it way too many times. The Stokes are so beat up. And again, they could easily turn red and dump in my face, and I could wake up down $400 tomorrow morning. Like, there's no guarantees. And I know that about trading. I've learned that the hard way, right? So I'm at the job working for Kevin James. I had already had trading experience. I'd traded gold and silver. You know, I've been trading gold and silver. I had been swing trading, like hurricane pump, like this one company was going to like clear out. I basically speculated that we were going to hit with a hurricane in Houston, Texas, because they said it was coming for a few weeks. And then I knew this company had a contract to pump the water. And I had this email was telling me, like, if they get the contract, like they're going to go up when the hurricane hits. They're going to get, and I was like, man, and I speculated on that. I felt kind of bad. I speculated on the hurricane, knowing it was going to hit. I bought this company and it worked out. Like it actually did play out. And I did a bunch of weird different things like that. And I had emails from different companies and they were speculating on things and they would tell me stuff and I'd look at them and make my own decision. And I was doing that for a few years on and off. And then I got into marijuana stocks. And that's kind of how my life changed. I put, $6-7 into a few different ones. And one I put $6 into was Canopy Grow Corp. And it did well. It did very well. And I ended up making some good money, $30,000. And then I ended up having access to Bitcoin and finding out what Bitcoin was when it was $350. I was getting emails about Bitcoin at $350, telling me what it was and why I should buy it, right? Interesting. All right. So I just got a weird email from Coinbase. It's like, well, yeah. So anyway, yeah. So I'm doing, and then yeah. So eventually find out about, and I wanted to see if I could like dig up the email because I just like the email to me is just like so surreal. Like I almost still don't even believe it. I'm like, was that real? Like I was getting emails to buy Bitcoin when it was so cheap back in the day. $350, and all I was a speculative investor I was speculative investing in gold and all this other stuff, and I guess because I was in that type of genre, I was getting those types of emails, right? And I still don't believe it, and then on top of those emails, I saw a guy in the street that told me that he found Ethereum, and he helped work on it when it was like very small. And he told me I should buy some when it was like $9. And I was like, all right, like I guess, So I'm trying to dig up one of these emails, like, but it's like Bitcoin. Oh yeah. Oh, no, it's 2024. Anyway, I'm wasting time, but I was getting emails about Bitcoin when it was so little, back in the day, 2015, 2016. And I started figuring out what was going on. I was like, man, something's going on with this Bitcoin stuff, right? Like, here's one of the emails I got. Here's one of the emails I got right here, like back in May 31st, right? The current chart of TX Ventures Composite looks exactly like Bitcoin did. We suggested Bitcoin in May 2006 at 530. Like these people were giving me emails at May. It was just crazy, man. It was just crazy. Anyway, back in the day. So now, and so what I did is I eventually, I started buying more Bitcoin and I eventually got more and more of it. And then I stuck with it no matter what, and then it went to 20K, went back down and I bought Cardano. I still hold the Cardano I bought in 2017. If it didn't hit where I felt I should be able to sell at, I never sold something. I'm like, I should be able to get a bigger return on that. I would always think, like I had a goal and I would wait for my goal. I got really good. Most of my speculative investments played out. Like I did it on Phantom. I did it on Cake. I did it on a bunch of different things. This is the first time that I speculatively invested in within the time frame I believed I was going to hit, I didn't hit. Like one of my good friends got into Ethereum when I did around $800. I told him, we're 18 months, a year from now, we should hit. And a year later, he's like, what's up with this, bro? This thing is, then it would dump again. And he'd be like, dude, what's happening? It's down again. Like I thought this, now he's happy. He's like, wow, I made 29,000 off of 7,000. He's like, he can't, he's happy, but it's like, man, it took a long time. Right. And I always said, man, just have faith, bro. I said, I don't know when it's going to happen, but it does. Somehow in crypto, it will. It beats inflation over time. At the end of the day, it can be frustrating when your coin goes up, coin goes down. Like I've been in something, like here's a great example. I love this example. But Bitcoin's ripping. We go through this nasty bear market. And Bitcoin rips. I always remember this time. Like, we're in this nasty bear market at 20K. And all of a sudden, we go from 3,000 almost to 14,000. And I'm convinced that it's the end of the bear market. I mean, we've hit 14K. I mean, we're 6,000 from the all-time high. And I get a huge tax return that year. Right around this time, June or July, I found out I have more than I thought I was going to have. And I buy Litecoin for $10,000 at like $114 or something crazy. And then the whole market tanks. And I remember being in Litecoin for, I believe, a year and a half. I sold it for a $3,000 gain at like 140 or 130 or something from 114, right? And it took me like 2 years of my life. Now, it still beat inflation, though. So even though and at one point it was $800. So I put in about $7 to $8 grand in Litecoin. At one point it was $700. And then I sold it for 10 grand 2 years later. I still beat inflation despite the insane volatility that cryptocurrency gave me. And it was almost like the volatility was the release. It was the ability to get above the dollar's value. So I've gone through so much, and it hasn't always been perfect. I want you to know that. A successful person is simply who has made every mistake you've made, just they've gotten over it more than most people. The only thing I don't do, and I'm pretty good, is I don't blow up accounts. Like, I don't get liquidated. I don't overtrade leverage. I know it's not my key to winning. I know I won DCing into crypto, Bitcoin long-term. My long-term Bitcoin holdings paid me way more than anything else in my life. And just being humble and stacking. And so, even though we leverage trade, even though it's fun, even though the gains are awesome, and it's, I always tell people, like, stacking Bitcoin is the key. The low, the boring, the humble game. 10 years from now, I believe Bitcoin will 10x from where it's at. And people will kick themselves for not buying the lower price now and having this asset that no one will be able a chance to grab again. And I remind myself that every day it dips. Like today, I was like, man, you got to buy something, even though you wish you had an altcoin. And I said, you got to buy at least $2-3 grand of Bitcoin today because it's dipping, man. I said, you can't go and not buy the dips. I said, you can't chase the green candles. So if you can't chase the green candles, then you have to buy the dips. You don't have, so the next time fear and greed ever gets low again, like, I'd have to take advantage of it. That's why I knew to buy down there that time. That last time we went to that 10 area there, February 27th. I mean, it was so key. I'm still getting paid off that move, right? So transitioning from work into trading, to me, is like a process that you have to tell yourself. Like, to me, it's literally a 5-year. It's like you have to plan it out. You have to plan it out. I don't know if you ever got, it's like, have you ever seen your neighbor or someone build a pool? But like, first it gets dug. It's like a long, trying process, First they map it out. They got to dig it. It's a mess everywhere, right? They bring the bulldozers. They remove the grass. Then the workers come in and I got to dig it all out and chew it up and make it neat. Then they got to pour the concrete and all that, right? Then they got to lay the piping. Then they got to do the tiles. And it's usually like 5 to 6 months later, back and forth and whatever. And eventually it's all backed and they put the screen on. I just watched the houses in my neighborhood go from no pool to pool, and it's just this long process. It's the same thing for you to go from working your 9 to 5 to becoming a trader full time. And eventually, if you decide you'll have enough of a stash that you won't ever have to go back to work, that's the key. Everyone likes to call me lucky. Oh, you got into Bitcoin early. But I also was humble. I was super humble. Like, I knew that it wasn't going to get me paid overnight, but I knew that if I stuck with it 8 years from now, I'd be in a really good spot. And now it's been almost 10 years, and I stuck to the same thing. And I did the Warren Buffett, man. I did the same thing over and over again. It's not sexy. Sometimes it's pretty boring. Being a disciplined life sometimes isn't the most exciting. But you know what it is when you get to do exciting things with your time. Like when I go to Singapore for that week, I'm going to remember all the days that I worked super hard at my office alone. I don't always get to go out, and I don't always shake hands, and I'm not always out there. Hey, the live stream's fun, but when it ends, I'm in a room alone, and it's a lot of time with my family and me alone grinding, right? And then I get to go out a couple times a year and see the world and see the fruits of my labor and meet people. And that's when I okay, this is cool. I'm somebody. Someone actually goes up to me and they know me because I dedicated myself to something. No other reason, You don't have to be great. People will respect you for just being amazed, for just showing up every day, man. That's greatness enough, because most people just can't do that, you know? So again, what I did do, though, was I leveraged my time. I found jobs that I knew would probably pay me for 8 to 10, but would only need me for 4 to 5, and would have me sitting in places, you know? And a lot of my jobs had me sitting. And while I was sitting, I was watching videos and learning cryptocurrency over and over again, time after, you know. I had a night shift, late night. I'm researching, you know, and it just kept going. The research just kept going. I just never really stopped. Before I knew it, I was so heavy into blockchain and technology and crypto. I was just in a new world that no one I knew anything about. My sisters, my family, my friends, they had no, and I kept telling them, like, my friends was working for Ernst & Young, and I told him, I'm like, man, this is it, Ethereum. Now he has an Ethereum division in his company, and I was telling him that Ethereum was going to be big before, and he laughed at me, kind of like, people giggled, because they didn't know if I was just, you know, smoking, just, you know, coming up with some new crazy idea, like, or was I really onto something? And even back then, like, I had a lot of different ideas, so I couldn't be 100% that everything I said was exact, but it seemed legit. Like, it seemed like the way I thought it through made sense. I looked at history. I looked at the hidden secrets of money. I studied all these different types of currencies throughout my life. And then it came to me, I was like, okay, this makes sense. You know, if they keep printing money to zero, this makes sense to me, right? So that's kind of where I stand on that, you know, and why I stuck with cryptocurrency. And the coolest thing about crypto was there was many times, oh, look, we're up $1,000 now. This thing is ripping. Amazing, huh? Amazing when you stick to your conviction. I'd love to wake up like 4 or 5 grand. Imagine we rip all the way back to the top and I make the 67 hundo. That would be awesome, right? It could happen. You got to believe, though. You got to believe it's going to happen. You know how many times, like today, lose. Now you win it all. Now you got it all back and more, you know? But had I given up, no way, right? You lose every trade you don't win any trades you don't take. You can't win any trades you don't take, right? This is the key to trading. Having a system that keeps you believing you can win. Once you lose your system, you'll lose too much. You'll be afraid to open up trades. It'll take you a couple weeks to be like, man, I can do this again. It's such a psychological game of where you sit after your last trade. That's what I've learned. For instance, I sold the local top here, and in the morning, I didn't short. But when I woke up in the morning and saw the short, I wasn't pissed because I felt I was still cool. I got in here and I sold there. I was Mr. Cool. You know? I still did something amazing, right? So I wasn't sitting there like, now, had I not traded at all for weeks and then watched the short, I'm like, damn, I could have shorted that last night. But because I executed my plan, and then today, I'm looking for the reversal. So yeah, I could have shorted, longed, and done it all, right? And there's times I've done it both. But I'd rather get in here, sell my long, wait for my next, get in again, execute, right? And I'm not using a lot of money. I want to make this clear too, because I'm using high leverage. So look, my margin is, I'm using $2,300 at 65x leverage. So I made $1,000 off of $2,300, $2,400. It's not like I had to use big money to make $1,000. I just had to be positioned very close to price action. See, like, I've learned that by being precise now, I can manipulate leverage, but it's only because of how I use the moving averages. By being right on the moving average and knowing that, dang, I could get in right there, and my stop can be, by making my stop and my entry very, very close, I'm able to take advantage of heavy risk that I was never able to get before. Because it either happens here or it doesn't. Like this, it has to reverse here. And as we went over the update too, it kind of, the bigger time frames kind of almost have to reverse a bit. Look at here too. We got a bit of an Adam and Eve here on ETH. I wouldn't be surprised ETH is back at 4,900 by 10. You know, it's going to bounce with Bitcoin. So you pick your poison, and that means most of the altcoins are going to get a bit of a bounce. So looking like we may get a bounce tomorrow, Friday, right after the crazy just decided a PPI yesterday. I mean, this is kind of stupid. Because like PPI and all that may affect the NASDAQ, but it's not Bitcoin, man. And the more money they print, the higher Bitcoin's going. Period. Like, you can't lie to me. Like, it doesn't make sense. So I think it's a good day to DCA into coins that you like. Possibly swing trade some alts, but the volume will be tight tomorrow. There could be up and downs. It's not as easy to swing trade alts as it is Bitcoin, like especially on Lev. I'm very careful trading altcoins on leverage. I almost don't do it at all. Bitcoin's volatile, and you can lose your shirt enough with Bitcoin. It's a big asset that moves a lot. Like, so why even play games with these altcoins? You know. I think everyone's a little too risky with the altcoins personally on leverage, but that's just me. Maybe I'm wrong. Probably not, though. Wow, Zora looks interesting. Daily's not that far from the 21. It's high risk for sure. It's been hot, but damn, man, that thing could pump. I don't like the curve 21 there. That's a little weird. But I do like the 200 moving average on the 1 hour. You get in there with a stop below there, there's a chance that could pump. Again, using the same strategy I just used on Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin gets the pump, the market pumps, Zora will likely pump. And if Bitcoin can stay above the 200 moving average, then Zora will stay above its 1 hour 200 moving average. And so there's a chance that Zora does get a move tonight, but it's more volatile and it could pump. It could drop. And that's high risk. Trading alts on Fridays is more high risk, like swing trading them, you know? Normally. I'm not saying every time, but normally. And the bull run cooks Friday can be good. Fridays has been pretty good to us on and off throughout the summer. We've had Sunday pumps. We've had Friday pumps. Heck, we've had Monday pumps. Yeah, I really like Hyperliquid. I keep talking about how likely it is to pump. I think it's the coin to be loading into. It's the coin to have a position in. It may go a little more sideways here. I don't know exactly how it's going to go. Like, it might start pumping tomorrow. It might go sideways. But I just feel like it's the most likely coin that I can park my funds in and come back to it weeks later and have money. More money than I put in before, right? I got faith in this puppy. Yeah, so I'm looking for Hyperliquid to continue sideways and pump sooner than later. And I'm looking to go to 62. So far, so good. So I may have called the reversal tonight. No guarantees, but there's a good chance we did. Right? And then I posted a bunch of different altcoins that are hot on token metrics that we could zoom through. They got some moonshots, too. Let's see what they say here about moonshots. He's a little real risky here. ALO, Milky Way, and Yulti. Interesting. They got nothing out of them so far, but just newer. Never heard of Kilo, RWA, Milk, and Yulti. And then I've been watching this Phi Sol. People keep bringing it up. I'm not totally too in love with it, but it's got a small market cap, seems to have some bit of a following, and it's fallen back into that 618 fib. I like DJI 6930, but it keeps slipping, man. It's like, dang, they make it tough. When the coins dip, they make it tough to believe in them. You know, it's like, but that is the 786. Like, that's where, you know, I nibbled on it there because that's where I'm supposed to buy. But it's really hard to buy the lows, man. It's not easy. You have to defy your emotions. It, like, hurts to buy the bottom, you know. Makes you sick sometimes, but that's how you have to do it. Yeah, so like we could go over thousands of coins tonight, and I give you tons of updates and stuff like that. I just feel like it overwhelm you. I don't know if tonight, to me, I don't feel like tonight's the greatest night. You know, we'll see what happens. We want to see E stabilize on the daily. E starts to stabilize on the daily, then we're going to start getting the bull flags on these altcoins. You know, like I'm looking for a bounce here on Floki. It's got to bounce tonight or go check. It looks like we're getting some more chop. I just be careful over trading alts tonight. I wish I could say it differently. And that's kind of the weekly screens here. I don't want to go too long. And as we get back into these Thursday nights, I'll get back into the motions of how I used to do it better. What I want to do next week is break down categories of different altcoins for we'll look at RWA, look if there's more DeSci. I'm going to have one of my assistants kind of deep dive a couple more coins and just kind of break down if there's new opportunity and where it would be and what we should be looking for. I'll be scanning Twitter, looking for trends, pop into some Discord, see what's happening, kind of get that feel going. The live stream tends to pump a little more too. We tend to get more action. Look, 777s on Floki just showed up. So funny. But yeah, let me see where the chat is. Let me just talk to everyone here. I said, looking forward to the category breakdown. Nothing like workout and listening to Sam the man. Love you, brother. Love you, man. Sorry it wasn't as loud as it should have been. I apologize for that. But thanks, Sam, for sharing your story. As a young kid, I really appreciate your time and knowledge. It means more than you know to have someone like you around. Love the stories. I could trade 500x if I wanted to. It just doesn't really matter, what leverage I trade. Honestly, I trade big money, so if I put a 50 grand in at 500x leverage, my liquidation would be so close to price action. You know what I mean? It just wouldn't work, man. Not always, but it just, You ever plan on selling your Bitcoin? Never. No, never. I plan on using it to take loans out to buy other assets that can produce more Bitcoin. Yeah. And I plan on leaving it to my children. Yeah. Yeah, he said he used to send all his... Yeah, exactly. I mean, stash. Thanks, Sam, and good night. Thank you, man. God bless you. Shout out to all the new people here. No, I'm sorry. It's okay, J Soul. Don't be sorry, man. You're just telling the truth, man. It's all good. And again, I hit 100K twice now, and they brought me back down. So it's either bots botting me to 100K as a joke, thinking it's funny, or someone thinking they're helping me, but it doesn't help because YouTube sees that it's not real. And so when we hit the real 100K, J Soul, I will go. But we got to hit the real one. It's got to be real for me, Yeah, never sell Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the new money. You don't sell money. You know what I mean? Back in the day, you didn't sell the dollar, right? You had the dollar. You sold the dollar for something. But Bitcoin's the new money, man. It's the new layer of money. You accumulate as much as you can. You produce, so you can buy more Bitcoin. That's the game. Anyway, shout out to you if you got into the reversal with me, you did make gains. As you can see, my trade's in the money, so you should be in the money too. You can move that stop loss to break even, or I keep it right below that 200 moving average. And every time we pump up a little bit, I even shave it up a little closer because the 200 moves up a little more. Yeah, it lets me just take a little risk off the table. So we're at the highest the trade's ever been. It's 41%. We're at 1,967 now. So, hey. And there's transparency right there. A day of trading with the lifer. And, yeah, I'm you over and out. God bless you all. I will see you tomorrow morning, bright and early at 7 a.m. And we'll start it off like we do, and we'll double check where this trade is at. We'll look to see where the altcoins are flying and what's going on. Look for the elites and every other thing we're seeing. And I'll check in with you tomorrow morning. God bless everyone. Thank you.